Greetings, Benjamin J. from BENZTRAINZ with another in the series. Well, a follow-up on that Marx 490 DC that arrived today. As you see, I've added two diodes. I only had small ones, so I wired two of them in parallel and installed it on the motor. Now, this is coming directly off the contactor. This is straight DC. And to ground it, I've just got the wire folded down off the terminal, and then I put a wire tie around it to hold it to the outside of the can, and that way it's grounded to the chassis. And as you see, this motor just literally lifts out of here. Gravity is basically holding it in there. And mounted vertically, it has an intermediate gear. So there's a gear on the motor, an intermediate gear, and a gear on the axle. Now only the rear axle is powered. The front axle is free spinning, as you see. Now, something really interesting about this is the push rods are out of synchronization for some reason. This one's at the top, this one's at the bottom. No idea why Marx would do that. Also, different kind of push rods, as you see. Instead of being mounted on studs, they're cantilevered into holes in the wheel itself. So only the two rear wheels are powered. And this is actually quite an efficient little motor, as you see. It's quiet, it's smooth, it's powerful. With only two wheels being driven, it's still pulling 10 Lionel cars with no problem at all. And as you see, that runs just absolutely splendidly. And this will drop into any shell that has a standard Marx motor in it. Dimensionally, they are the same. This is very likely the motor that they used in the modern Marx locomotives. It's really simple, there's no doubt about that. Absolute minimum of moving parts. And yet it's powerful, has a lot of pulling power, a lot of torque the way that motor is mounted. So in any case, it's up and running. Now, as an experiment, this was the DC shell. As you see, I put a standard 490 or a standard Marx 490 motor in it. 490 push rods. The shell is identical to a standard 490. So the only thing different is the motor itself. So in any case, wire coming off the contactor going to this side of the motor. This side I've got a wire tie, just basically strapping the wire directly to the case, and it's grounded to the chassis right through the case. And as you see, this runs just absolutely splendidly. It's fast, it's powerful, it has a lot of torque, a lot of pulling power. So in any case, just wanted to do a quick video. It's an interesting motor, there's no doubt about that. You could drop this in a 666 shell, very likely, or a perhaps a 999 shell if you could change the front mount. Anyway, it would be interesting to see a electric DC 999. In any case, it's an interesting experiment. It was worth the $10 just to buy this to play with it. And as you see, it's up and running, and it's running on the controller, of course, the 12-volt portable. But as you see, that's running just absolutely splendidly. It is really smooth, it's really quiet, and it's really powerful. Surprisingly powerful, in fact, since it only has two powered wheels, and yet it's able to pull 10 full-size Lionel cars with no problem at all. So as you see, it's up and running. Now, the original motor is absolutely dead. Very likely someone tried to run it on AC and burned it out. It doesn't even buzz, won't do anything at all. Anyway, I happen to have a motor from the Aero car experiments that is virtually identical. It literally dropped into that housing. So it must be a very common motor. So technically, I suppose, you could probably find a motor that is higher voltage, and these are 6-volt, of course. You can run them on flashlight batteries. The set that this came in runs on a 6-volt lantern battery, and has its own little controller with a speed adjustment on it. In any case, I think it's really interesting to play with. So running it on DC, I've added the diodes so it'll run on AC. And as you see, it runs quite well. And it'll fit any standard shell that took a standard Marx motor. So I'll be doing some experiments with this. Just wanted to do a quick video to document the motor itself. 6-volt Marx motor, DC. Now usually you can find these things quite inexpensive, and this one was $10, but I wanted it just so I could do the experiment, so I bought the first one I could find. And fortunately I had a replacement motor. That is dead. That won't do anything. Like I said, someone very likely ran it on AC and burned it up, but it doesn't even buzz. But I had that replacement motor that literally just dropped into position, wired it, and it's up and running. So just want to do a quick video. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email, BENZTRAINZ@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for watching.